Can I move around while I'm speaking? Or should I stay?
You can move around and you can use this if you like.
Ah, okay.
Dance?
No. I'm not prepared.
I'll try it later.
Okay. Yeah, that's the.
So please, yeah, whenever you're ready. Well, can I just check that song?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you
Okay,
go.
thanks a lot. Okay, so I was actually thinking when I saw the call, my first reaction was that I was very happy to see that there was a conference that interpreted this word openness not as like a open format, openness, PDFs available to everyone. This was actually something that I resonated with. But then there was a second thing that resonated with me, which wasn't actually in the code, which is about something that I'm really interested in, which is my job. This is not me, but actually this is the feeling that I have every time somebody asks me what I'm doing, what my job is. I don't know if you have ever wondered about this. And I actually have a small anecdote from my family. I actually remember my mother when I was doing a PhD. My mother talking on the phone with her sister, and which is my aunt, of course. And my aunt would ask about me, how am I doing, and I still remember the way in which my mother used to answer to this question. And she used to say, "Well, yes, he goes to the university, he does stuff, he teaches." Actually, I never taught when I was a PhD student, and my mother was actually an elementary teacher, so she was quite educated, but she basically didn't know what I was doing. And later, when I moved from Italy to Estonia, I had this feeling that I wasn't really able to spell out what I was doing. I knew that I was a sort of researcher, first postdoc researcher, then senior researcher, then super researcher, I don't know. But I was always wondering, okay, but what am I doing? What am I doing? And this is, I think, a crucial question before we go to the issue of the porosity of the university. Okay, I have to exchange what I'm doing with other people, the results of what I'm doing, but what I'm actually doing. Okay. So my personal answer, which is probably a kind of a romantic utopia, the answer is that, well, what I'm doing is performing inquiries. And I'm actually using this word inquiry. First of all, because I like it. Secondly, because it's not the word research, which I think lost its meaning pretty much. And so I was thinking, well, okay, probably I'm a sort of inquirer. But what does this mean then? And I looked for an example that could actually give you the idea of what I mean by inquiry. And this is a very, very interesting example, I think. This comes from a famous book by Herbert Simon. I think that you may be familiar with him, founding father of artificial intelligence, cognitive science, Nobel Prize for economics back in 78, I think. Okay. Well, he wrote a book. I think this was published in 81, The Sciences of the Artificial, in which he goes through the great results of artificial intelligence and cognitive science in the last 30 years. And then he has this very example, this very interesting example to point out what a discovery is and how discovery can be easily automated. And I think that this is a very interesting example to show what inquiry is and what inquiry is not. Okay? So this is actually his example. So he said, okay, consider the following sequence, ABCM, CDM, EFM. What letters come next? I know, I'm quite sure that the answer is G, H, M, then I. Okay. Okay. Of course, this is the right answer. But actually, when I saw this, and this is the provocation in a way that leads me to the sort of definition or conception of inquiry that I want to put forward. But are you really sure that this is the answer? Is this the only answer that we have, first of all? is this certainly the wrong answer? Are there any other answers? Now, of course, if we take this as a puzzle, as a problem to solve, very defined, with clear borders, not porous borders, well, of course, the right answer is GHM and so on. Okay? And we can actually instruct a machine to do it, and of course, Herbert Simon said that this is done by pattern extrapolation, so everything is fine. But I think that there is a catch here, because actually this answer, GHM and so on, is true only if we assume that the future would be the same as the past. So when it's a game, Simon is right. But if we want to adopt this as a sort of representation of reality, of what we see every day, I mean, this is not quite a good answer. Probably, this is certainly the wrong answer. Because, of course, we cannot assume that the past is the same as the future. And I think that it's here where I think that inquiry makes sense. Because inquiry is precisely when we say, oh, we don't know what is going to happen. That's why we have inquiry. And this is my sort of romantic utopian view of university. That's probably why we need universities. Institutions in which people admit that they don't know what is going to happen, that they assume that the future is not written yet, like Doc in Back to the Future said. So probably this is a place where to start from. I have two last slides, but so I actually came up then. What is then that we don't do when we do inquiries? And I think that this is a sort of, I don't know if it makes sense in English, but I don't know. This is another provocation. So I thought that probably inquiry is porous by nature. Because, we don't know where we're going to, so we just start exploring. Whereas, for instance, puzzle solving or problem solving is something that, well, I would say that it's sticky. It means that, it's not porous, okay? It's something that annoys us because we want to solve our small puzzles, small big puzzles, but it's not inquiry. And I don't think that the university is supposed to solve problems. And this is actually an issue when it comes to knowledge transfer, because then we are supposed to give back to society the kind of knowledge with which we can solve all the problems, from unemployment to global warming to whatever. And I'm not saying that global warming doesn't exist. And this is the last slide, and I just I have no time to go through all this, but this is just another set of provocation. If the university can be interpreted as an institution devoted to porous inquiries, then probably we may start thinking or reimagining our commitment, our engagement, what it means to be responsible. Because, I mean, if we just admit that we know, that we don't know actually. And that's why we start inquiring. Then, for instance, we may start thinking not in terms of accountability, but in terms of care. So, at least I care about the process. Alienation leads to irresponsibility, engagement to care. Probably it's another thing. I do this out of vocation, because I'm curious, because I happen to find inquiring interesting. Then, when it comes to productivity, okay, increase productivity, how about conviviality? Why don't we try to be more creative all together instead of measuring our scientific outputs? And then the last question, would this all be utopian? I'm just a romantic lost in time that think that society can actually afford something like people just having open-ended discussions, open-ended provocations as we're doing now. So this is it. I think that it's 7 minutes. 9 minutes.
Emanuele, thank you very much indeed. So it's inquiry porous, and what's the role of conviviality? I think we're going to be coming back to these things, definitely.